Hi, Sheridan Boise here. T.S. Eliot in the Four Quartets has this great line. He says, "We had the experience, but we missed the meaning." How often does that describe our lives? Where it feels like we're rushing from here to there, from this experience to that event, to this conversation, that thing on my to-do list to do, full of productivity and efficiency, and we never stop, pause, breathe, to see how all of those things fit together to make up the whole of our lives. Now, in this video, I want to give you 3 quick tips on how to incorporate reflection into your days. Reflection is really the art of seeing the meaning in your experiences. These come from a brand new book of mine called Reflect with Sheridan. It's a lovely hardcover gift book, fully designed throughout, beautiful photography, 70 stories on joy and wonder and meaning, belonging, compassion, callings. This one is on human uniqueness. This one is about happiness. Where do we find it beyond the kind of momentary glimpses of joy that we have? This one is about one question to help you live a regret-free life. Where do you go to have those moments of thinking about hope or compassion or change and reflecting on where you sit with all those things right now? Here's those 3 tips. Number 1, you'll never reflect if you don't set a time. You are too busy. I am too busy to just let reflection happen sometime during the day. My tip is find an easy win in your schedule. Maybe it's lunchtime for you. And instead of going off to the lunchroom with your colleagues, maybe you take a chair outside round the back of the office underneath a tree or something, or head outside the backyard. For me, it's a spare room next door, nothing fancy. It's just a chair in the corner. It's a space where I can just have that solitude. And I can stop, interrupt the rush, breathe, and just see how all of the things that I've been doing that morning actually connect and fit. Maybe for you it's not lunchtime, it's at the beginning of the day before the kids get up, or at the end of the day when they're off in bed. If you can't find 10 to 15 minutes in your day, we need to have a bigger conversation about your social media use, because I reckon that's where it can probably come from. Tip number 2, reflect on something specific. So you don't go out to the tree or out to the backyard or the spare room and just go, right, okay, I'm going to reflect now. What am I going to reflect on? No, you take something specific to let your mind and your soul dwell upon. A verse of scripture can be particularly powerful in this, where you stop and you let a verse like, "Be still and know that He is God." Let it bounce around your inner self. What does that mean for me today? What does that do, and how does that recalibrate the decisions and the feelings that I'm having and the rush and the kind of stress that I'm feeling right now? Let it just do its work. Or maybe it's nature. Some research out of the University of Derby here in the United Kingdom found that people who contemplate nature for as little as 20 seconds a day, 20 seconds, it's even more if it's 2 minutes, 10 minutes, but just 20 seconds a day, have increased feelings of well-being, decreased levels of anxiety, and a greater capacity to both care for the environment and to care for other people. So maybe it's nature that you reflect on. Reflect with Sheridan has been designed to give you 70 stories to enter, to give your mind and heart something to kind of dwell upon. Maybe you need to look at hope at the moment. Well, there's 8 stories there about hope. Something fascinating about the human mind and stories. We can't resist them. We enter the stories. We find ourselves taking on the role of a character, or maybe a secondary character, saying, well, what would I do in that situation? What wouldn't I do? What should I do in the situation I'm in now with the relationship difficulties I have, or the big decisions I have to make? That's the thing, is you take something specific, let it do its work, and particularly when you combine it with prayer, you will find that meaning comes, the dots start to join, you see how all the pieces of the puzzle actually start to fit together. So set a time, reflect on something specific, and number 3, record what you get. Maybe out of your reflection time, you just get a bit of an idea as to how to handle that difficult telephone conversation. Or maybe it might be an idea for an article or for a book. This is my journal. This is nothing special. It's a cheap spiral-bound hardcover A5 notebook. I've got dozens of them. Every book I write comes out of these journals. Every spot I write for the BBC comes out of these journals, which I take into my reflection time. Now, a little tip on journaling. The amount of people that have come up to me and said, yeah, I tried journaling, but I couldn't keep it up. And I go, what do you mean couldn't keep it up? And they say, well, you're supposed to do it every day, aren't you? And I say, no, you're not supposed to do it anyway. I go months without writing anything in my journal. Other days I'll write a number of times a day. It's your tool, it's your servant, it's not your master. It is there to simply record what you get. It might be one word, and maybe you feel I just need to focus on the word rest right now. Or maybe it's one line or a sentence. Thank God T.S. Eliot had a pen and paper handy when out of his reflection time came that great sentence. We had the experience but missed the meaning. So there's the 3 tips. Set yourself a time, reflect on something specific, and record what you get. Set, reflect, record. I hope that helps you to get all the pieces in place, find the meaning of your life, and I hope you enjoy Reflect with Sheridan.